I'd also like to say that yes, the video was rushed. It simply didn't meet the quality standard that you'd expect of me, and that's without even mentioning that it was clearly biased and didn't attempt to see different viewpoints.
So about 2 days ago, I did a video talking about this YouTuber by the name of Mujin, who made this pretty disastrous hit piece on another popular streamer by the name of Sykkuno. In this video, he essentially just went through a 32-page Google Doc, including a video of Sykkuno basically admitting to being a cheater and, messing around with a whole bunch of women while being in a relationship. And Mujin, and the person who put out these allegations, Hero Mall, tried to make it seem like Sykkuno is like this horrible predator monster who's just like out, taking whatever he wants, blah, blah, blah. When in reality, it just comes down to like a dude was being a bit of like a douche behind the scenes, cheating, messing around when he shouldn't have been messing around. And Mujin made a video covering this situation that would go on to get 2 million views or so, and he recently privated the video, and he put out a response regarding the video titled "About the Sykkuno Video."
Alright, so first things first, this video is not monetized. I'm not about to pull a CC in the big 2026.
Already starting off pretty strong. Yes, your apology may not be monetized, but your 2 million view video where you called this guy a predator is or was monetized, right? Pro probably made a couple grand off of that video in just 5 days, right?
I'm making this in regard to my last video about Sykkuno. I want to clarify how this video came to be, while also taking accountability and apologizing for the mistakes that I made. At the same time, I also want to clear up some misinformation spread about me over the last few days. This video was meant to come out a bit earlier, but I was told by someone in the know that Sykkuno might release a joint statement with his girlfriend, so I chose to wait for that first, just in case. I'll also be going through that later in the video. So, how did this all begin? Well, for me, it was on April 7th when I was reached out to by Mal for the first time. I was told that a Google Doc was releasing soon about a big content creator. And this is when I was asked if I wanted access to it early to maybe make a video about it. The document was going to publicly release on the 10th anyway. This means that this wasn't some grand conspiracy, okay? This document was going to release with or without me.
And this is exactly why it was a problem for you, Mujin, to make this video, right? You didn't give this video or this whole like Google Doc time to simmer for people to kind of actually analyze it and try to understand what was happening. You even included like this introduction part where you kind of described who Sykkuno was, and you explained how he was like growing as this creator who's always around women creators, trying to paint this narrative that this guy is like this manipulative predatory character. And that's what the entire video boiled down to, was him presenting Hero Mall, or whatever her name is, this idea that she was also presenting this idea. You didn't push back on anything. You didn't try to analyze anything. And it seems like now he's only like putting out this video to apologize because he got pushback that he wasn't really expecting.
And while yes, rumors of Sykkuno's behavior have been floating around for a while now between certain content creator circles, none of this was gonna really convince me to make an early video. If you've watched my channel before, then you'd know that I'm someone who highly values both sides of the story. It's actually something that I always implore you to do before forming your own opinions. And while I do receive so many DMs about scoops or exclusive info about certain topics, I mostly never take them, always choosing to wait for things to unfold in public first before making my videos. What made this situation special though was the 17-minute video recording of the voice call between Mal and Sykkuno. My logic here was simple. It was me thinking that we already had the other side of the story, and it was Sykkuno admitting to his wrongdoings in the most raw and unfiltered way possible. So I figured that was enough.
And that's another problem. Sykkuno in that video, in that Discord recording that he probably didn't even give Hero Mall like consent to record, or she probably didn't ask his permission. I mean, she doesn't have to, right? It's kind of the internet. You kind of expect that. He pretty much just admitted to cheating. He admitted he was in a relationship, and he admitted he was messing around with a bunch of girls, right? That's all he admitted to. He didn't admit to being a predator. He didn't admit to all these like other things that people were trying to accuse him of, right? He admitted to cheating. He admitted to messaging the mall girl. He admitted to messaging a few other girls. That's what he admitted.
At the same time, I thought that since my channel had grown exponentially, don't ask me how or why because I have no idea, I could maybe use my platform for a good cause, spreading awareness about Sykkuno's behavior so that no one else gets tricked into being a homewrecker against their will, while in parallel, encouraging others who have been wronged by him to finally speak up. Additionally, seeing that the person speaking up was doing so from a small account, I figured I could help amplify that message to spread maximum awareness. Now, yes, some people could definitely argue that I was desperate for a topic to bring in views, but to me it didn't matter because I was already lucky enough to be able to cover niche topics I enjoy and still somehow reach over 1 million views on them.
Okay, first off, this guy doesn't cover niche topics. He covers like humongous dramas that are like all over the internet. Like Moist Critical will cover something, and this is the type of content this guy will also cover. Like Marvel Rivals drama, right? Like this girl who called the police on a guy because he beat her in a video game. Like these are like big dramas that are all over Twitter, all over YouTube. Every commentary channel is covering, big and small, and he will also do a video on it. Like these are not niche topics by any means, right? Even then, the fact that you have 700,000 subscribers is why it's more important that you don't platform things like that, right? So you don't platform people's post-op experiences of like a relationship they had with someone, because these are not things that can be like verifiable. These are things that when people read them and like look into them and actually like wait and ask for more evidence to come out, end up falling apart. If they don't, congrats, you like got lucky that it didn't. But with the second they do, your credibility gets thrown away. And that's exactly what happened with this Mujin situation, which is why this whole video comes across as him now trying to like rebuild, his credibility.
Here's the thing though. Releasing the video around the same time as the document meant that I was taking a substantial risk by putting my channel's reputation on the line. I knew this, even at the time, but it was a risk I was willing to take if it meant that I was doing the right thing. Unfortunately, though, it didn't really work out as I had hoped, and I ended up making mistakes that I need to take accountability for, which is why we're here today.
So you may be noticing his apology, the way he's like presenting this whole video is as if he's not really apologizing or like regretful of what he did. He's just regretful that people didn't respond to it the way he wanted. He's more or less defending why he did these things, right? Which is, of course, like how people are going to apologize. They're going to explain their reasoning for why they did something. But a lot of this video boils down to him defending why he did what he did. He literally is going to Google what the definition of predator is to make it fit into Sykkuno's like playbook of him being like player. But we all know when someone says predator, we're thinking of like Epstein, P. Diddy, right? We're not thinking of a dude who is just like a playboy who cheats on his girlfriend.
The first mistake can be found in the intro of the video, and it's me using the word predator. Yes, it was my idea, and the logic behind it was me trying to encompass everything, like the serial cheating, lying, and deliberate targeting of smaller content creators into one word. Before using it, I even made sure to double check its definition in multiple dictionaries, which said things like a person or an organization that uses weaker people for their own advantage, or one who injures or exploits others for personal gain or profit. Due to this,
I mean, it also says some spiders and caterpillars mimic bird dropping. Like, bro, we know what words mean. Like, what? Come on.
I had to come to the conclusion that, yeah, this word fits. I'd find out quickly afterwards, though, that for many people, that word is only reserved to describe pedophiles or sexual predators, which made
Hold on, what's he saying?
That word is only reserved to describe pedophiles or sexual predators, which made a substantial amount of people feel misled after watching the intro of my video. It made it seem like a hit piece, exaggerating things, and it also made it seem like Sykkuno had committed very serious crimes, enough to land him in a high-security prison or something, when that clearly wasn't the case. That was not my intention at all, and I'm sorry for that. From now on, I'll only use that word to refer to pedophiles or sexual predators. That's it. No exceptions.
That's another thing he does throughout this entire video is he basically like a snarky way of insulting people's intelligence where he's like, sorry guys, from now on, I'll only use this word to describe these types of people because you guys got mad that I used it correctly. I used it the way the definition told me and you guys didn't like that. So from now on, I'm only going to use predator when I'm talking about a PDF. Again, he knew what he was doing by using this word. He knew that by putting front page all over Twitter for millions of people to see, Sykkuno is a predator. He's already painting an image, right? Some people are just going to see that and already push these allegations. People are already starting to make memes of freaking Dr. Disrespect next to Sykkuno. So I'm going to skip a bit of the video. Of course, it's going to be linked down below if you want to watch the full thing. He pretty much talks about like the whole XQC drama and how he talks about how like, I don't know why all these like big YouTubers are defending cheating all of a sudden. He's trying to create this like fake person who is defending cheating. Nobody is defending cheating. You have unfortunately put us in a spot where we have to compare cheating to predatory behavior. So of course it's going to come across as defense, right? If I'm comparing someone stealing an Xbox to someone killing someone, I'm not defending stealing an Xbox, but I am saying that one is not as bad as the other. Stealing an Xbox is not killing someone, right? I don't think that being a cheater is a predator, right? Some people could argue that. It's okay to argue it, right? You're going to get pushback like Mujin if you push that point. But there's words, and when you start to like muddy the words and definitions of things and like the way the society has like grown to like accept why words are used, people are going to push back on it. And that's what people are doing. He then talks about the statement that him and his girlfriend put together. Again, I'm going to skip this because he pretty much just reads through it and he talks about how Sykkuno did admit to doing this. Again, we all agree that Sykkuno's a bad dude for cheating and all this other stuff. And he talks about how he's sorry to the girlfriend for exposing all this information, which was kind of another interesting point, that his girlfriend didn't want any of this to be public, and Mujin as well as Hero Mall made this all public, right? And that's when we get to the next funny part of the video where he compares himself to PewDiePie, that PewDiePie's made mistakes, so Mujin makes mistakes as well.
I enjoyed his sense of humor, the fact that for the longest time, he was the sole runner of his channel, which gave him so much authenticity. But most of all, what I really liked about him was that he was not ashamed of being human. He would make mistakes, but when he would, he'd also sincerely apologize and work to learn from them. It's no secret that today, as a content creator, if you were to make a mistake, it would be so much easier to wait for it to die down in a week and then continue business as usual, as if nothing had happened. I was even advised by some to do exactly that and not release this video. And I understand why. It unfortunately works. But to me, it's simply the right thing to do, even if it leads to more scrutiny and people disliking me. I screwed up, I'm going to say sorry, and I will improve.
And here's the part where I can accept his apology. Like, at the end of the day, I'm a commentary slop guy. Like, I don't care. I don't hate you. I think that what he did was silly, right? We all move on. We've all made mistakes. This is coming from CamNuggets, right? The big sweep. I've done stupid things on this platform, and I think that people have forgiven me for the most part, right? People still are going to call me out if I make a mistake in the future, and they have every right to call me out in the past. This is, Mujin's first wake-up call, I guess. Again, it's very rare that someone gets to 700,000 subscribers without truly, like, screwing up this bad. I wouldn't even say this bad, right? It was bad, but it was bad enough to the point where, like, the chronically online people who think like everything is like offensive and like, oh, cheating is like the worst thing anyone can ever do, they're still on his side. Like, he didn't even really have to private the video or even make this, because a large majority of the internet like still think that Sykkuno is like a horrible guy, right? In the grand scheme of things, he did not screw up that badly, at least to his audience, at least to the people he was trying to appeal to, truthfully.
So what am I going to change exactly? Well, to start, I'll never give another exception to a scoop or exclusive info. I will do what I've always done on this channel and talk about things that have already played out in public. I don't care if a 5-star general gives me info about World War III starting tomorrow. I will make the video after the nukes drop. I also realize now just how much you guys value my objectivity. I understand that I'm not perfect at it, and I probably never will be, but I'll always strive to present information to you in the most balanced way possible so that you can, in the end, form your own opinion. And finally, no matter how much this channel grows, I'll always ask you to be honest with me, and I promise to take accountability when needed, just like how I'm doing right now. So look, if the last video was a deal breaker for you and you want to unsubscribe, then I completely understand. But I won't let you leave without thanking you first. Take care, and may our paths cross again someday.
And that's the video. Again, he kind of did that thing again at the end where he was kind of snarky, where he was like, even if the general, even if freaking Ulysses S. Grant and George Washington themselves came here and tell me, like, he didn't say all that, but like, if they tell me themselves that there's a big drama going on, I'm going to wait. Like, that's not what anyone is telling you to do. What people want you to do is, if you're going to cover something that is very opinionated, or try to cover something as serious and as sensitive and as touchy as, allegations like this, that borderline on the edge of like SA and possibly manipulation and possibly throwing predatory terms around, you should be handle it carefully. Handle it carefully. And that includes adding your own opinions, pushing back on some of the things that don't make sense, adding context to some of the things that don't make sense, right? Dive in more than literally just present everything as fact. Upload it to millions of viewers to get and collect your ad revenue. That's the problem that people had with this video. And when he's talking about objectivity, of course he's talking about waiting for other people to do the work. Let's be simple. Let's be realistic. That's what his content is. It's waiting for other people to do everything else. He watches a few videos, probably writes up a script and reads it. That's exactly what he does. He'll wait for a huge drama. He waits for it to all settle. And then he tells you guys what the heck happened. If you're going to give something hot, give something juicy, you have got to be fair about it. And I think that's the biggest worry or the biggest concern when it came to Mujin's video. Again, I don't care that much. I accept the apology. Life goes on. He'll keep making content. Hopefully he doesn't, screw up this badly again. I would never hope for someone to lose their channel or like lose their livelihood, whatever, right? He makes fine videos. But I want to know what you guys think down below, as always. Appreciate you. Thank you for watching, and go watch his original video if you want to. Bye.